I'll call the meeting of the Sanborn Facilities Committee to order, please. Stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right.
We don't have any minutes from the last meeting, right?
Did you do minutes?
I didn't get any from Phyllis. So
Okay.
I'll check on the minutes.
All right. All right. I'm going to jump into the business administrator's comments. All right. I want to give a large project update, and there's going to be more detail in another item in the agenda. Okay. So the auditorium, we're expecting the lighting equipment to be installed on May 31st. The new screen amplifiers and video equipment will be completed by the end of the summer. We're expecting the microphones, however, to take it 9 more months.
So do we remember when we spoke about this the last time about putting a spreadsheet together about what was allocated, the funds that were allocated and what we've spent so far out of those funds?
I haven't put in the funds, but I started building a spreadsheet. Okay.
I think
So,
can we keep that update and all the stuff that's taken long, like these 9 months for microphones? Have we asked for any kind of reduced, any kind of reduction in the amounts that we paid for, or what? Yes.
no, I'm not. I just wrote it down as an agenda. I mean, as an item.
Yeah.
Put in there.
The pandemic, supply chain is pretty much
Yes.
back to somewhat normal.
So I don't want to. I don't have an answer for you, but I will go and make sure I chase it down for the next meeting. Okay. All right. So what we try to do for the condition of the facilities is try to put as much information in here. So it's a little longer than it has been before. We're anticipating installing the grant-funded security improvements such as window film, and that's going to happen probably a couple of days after the end of school. On the rooftop unit, where the cafetorium, there's only one unit in the building that provides fresh air into the building. That ductwork has been there so long that it's cracked and it's starting to come apart. Okay. Well, how it has like a insulation blanket around the ductwork. That insulation blanket is starting to crack and deteriorate. We actually have a tarp over it. So that's going to be a future maintenance item.
Matt, can I take it back really quick? When we did the tour of Bakey, we talked about the window film. How many windows are we doing? I just guessed that.
It's going to be really, I think the ones that are going to be on the first floor,
Sure.
mostly in the front.
Okay. We're like 5 windows, 20 windows. I mean,
It's going to be like 20 windows.
okay.
And the actual placement will determine at some future period of time. We're not going to publicly state where.
Yep. Understood.
They're going to be.
Yep. Understood.
All right. So also the loading dock needs attention. And we're hoping to try to address that this summer.
Last I was touring over there, that wasn't recently. There were the issues on the steps and the loading dock. I thought those were taken care of.
What we did is we cut off the metal so that the metal wasn't going to slice someone open. But there are pieces of the step that have crumbled away. Okay. And then also there's a railing that had rotted out at the bottom. So you can take it and you can actually shake it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty bad.
And it might just be fixed. I thought that was fixed already.
That's
saw that.
stuff that we're looking to get.
I tried to get some concrete vendors to deal with it a while ago, but everyone is just so very busy right now.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to do a lot of the work in-house. Okay. And it's going to be more of a patch. It's not going to be like a permanent repair. There's an abandoned chimney that you can see from the front of the building, and the mortar's starting to kind of break down on the chimney. We're either discussing removing it below the roof line or just repointing it. Okay. We don't really know what we want to do because it changes the existing profile of the front of the building. The parking lot has an area where we're just kind of trying to. It's got like the pavement it's deteriorated so much that it's almost like a pothole, but we've been trying to fill that in. And so that will eventually need a patch. So when we do a big paving project, I'm going to have them cut out that piece and then fix it. There's also a puddle where the parents drive into the front parking lot where the teachers park. And what we're gonna try to do is sink like a dry well, so the water can flow into the dry well and then just be absorbed by the ground right there.
How long does it take to just evaporate? I mean, how long is it all there?
Sometimes it's there for so long in the winter, we have to take the plow trucks and push it out of the way so that it doesn't freeze in place. Memorial, again, there's a puddle that collects out in the front of the entrance of Memorial. And this is where the water runs off the main road into the parking lot. It just collects right there. So again, we want to sink another dry well right there in the front lawn and have the water flow into that dry well.
But my question on that is, doesn't the town have some responsibilities to not flood out the properties on the side? Isn't there a grading issue with the town?
I can talk to the road agent for the town and see what kind of,
Normally, the town can't just allow runoff from the roads to flood out properties. They've got to properly, they got that easement on the side of the road that they can manage. But they can't just direct water overflow onto abutting properties, as far as I know.
Sure. And which door are you talking about over there?
the main door, the front entrance.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm gonna say, talk with the road agent about. Okay. Also, there's a new roof leak that, just showed up in the building, and it's in a portion of the building that we haven't replaced the roof. It's also an older roof system. So, unfortunately, our initial impression is we're gonna have to tear off the roof system and put a new one down on the top. So it's like it's something that was done when the building was built, and it's got like river rocks over the top. We can do things about, say putting down tar and patching it and pushing up and delaying for the future. Okay, which this could potentially tie or dovetail into another conversation that I want to talk about on the agenda item about a timeline for Memorial. Okay.
So where is this in the roof?
Yeah, so let me see if I can bring it up on the screen.
You just spent money on the roof, not that long.
That's correct.
And what was the issue?
Well, we replaced the roof in this section. I'll show you. So if I can bring up the building. So the roof that Jamie's talking about is this black portion right here. I believe we paid about $90,000 3 years ago for that roof.
And that's a flat roof?
This is a flat roof. Okay. This pitch roof is okay. This pitch roof is okay, but it's not as good as this one. It is this roof right here. And it's like gravel on the top.
Yeah. So that's like the gym
Yeah.
to the right there, and then the,
Back half class.
yeah, back half, and then the portable.
Yeah.
over there. Okay.
So it's this addition right here. And then this is a portable right here. Okay. So the first quote came in at $300,000. Okay. And I'm not satisfied. All right. We need to dig into this more.
What did the quote consist of?
It consisted of ripping off the system and putting in a new system.
On the entire,
Can you go back to the
yeah,
picture?
go back to.
Yeah, why was the other one 90?
On this section right here,
On what section?
the cafetorium and this section right
Yeah.
here.
It looks about 1.5 times as big.
Right, so why is that one 90? and
Right, I would expect
100?
150 or something.
Yeah,
Right, because they're ripping off the insulation too. Because the insulation's on the top.
okay, and they didn't have to do that with the other one?
The insulation's on the bottom on the newer systems.
Okay, yeah, you guys explained that, okay.
All right, so it's,
That makes it double though?
Well, to me, can you use what's there as a base? Do you have to rip it off? If you're paying half the money to rip it off, can you use what's up there as a base?
Yeah.
And just
And
cover over it?
and my point is, all the options are not on the table.
Got it.
I'm just
Yeah.
throwing this thing out.
Okay,
It's an issue. I don't think we're gonna resolve it in the next year. Okay?
how bad is the leak though? I mean, are we pouring buckets into the classrooms? I mean, what's,
No,
okay,
no.
okay, it's manageable at this point.
Well, we're gonna be pouring tar on the roof to manage it.
The question is, can you keep the water out?
Right.
So if you keep the water out of the short-term repair, then you got something to do. If the water's getting in and rotting out other things, we need to understand that.
Yeah.
Hiding that and not knowing about it isn't helpful. So it's,
Right.
we have to understand that we've stopped the water.
Yes. Okay. All right, we're also repairing the handicap accessible playground structure. We have the parts, but, we're gonna be trying to repair it right after the school ends. So the person who's repairing it is actually making sure that the fields are prepared for, gameplay right now and graduation. Middle school, high school, we have, the first step of the concrete over here that's failed. We're gonna try to attempt to repair this over the summer as well. The chimney, right now, rainwater comes into the chimney and creates acid. You know, it mixes with the exhaust from the furnace, and we try to collect that acid at the bottom, but it keeps rotting out the pan. Okay, so some point in the future, I'm not saying like in the near future, we're gonna have to do some sort of engineering thing to keep the rainwater out of the chimney. Okay, and personally, I think this is something that would be great to do if we change over the system. So this might be longer. I just want you to be aware of it because the pans, we replace the pans underneath like every other year.
Holy cap.
We have to have it engineered. It's not as simple as what you would do at home. I have to bring in a specialized engineer who would design it, and then it would have to be manufactured and installed. So it would be an expense. I don't know what the expense would be. It might be like 20 to 30,000.
I mean, to me, the metal shop, make a cat. You know, just a hi-hat on it and install it. Why do we need an engineer?
Because it's a school, anything that I touch has to be engineered. You know, like the state fire marshal. Like the steps that we built over at at Memorial for the mods, I actually had to have the fire engineer design it. He did it in like a half an hour, so I could ship it off to the state fire marshal for approval. These are the hoops that I have to walk through or jump through for the state. But
It seems odd to me that you'd have to do that.
okay,
Do you have any documentation that supports that?
I will get documentation for that.
Yeah, why you do that?
Sure.
And you know, there may be companies that actually do that, right? I mean, I know somebody did that at my house, right? And I'm sure they probably do it on a larger scale. We cannot
Yep.
imagine that done in like 2 days.
Yep, perfect. Moving on, we had
I'm sorry, just real quick. I just want to make, maybe you don't know this, but we should probably the handicap playground structure. Is anybody prevented from using that right now? Do we have any children that need to use that? Okay.
no.
Okay, all right, good.
So we had a sinkhole out here in the front. It was because the septic system, when it was installed, someone had bumped it with an excavator, and it opened up the sidewalk. The end of the septic system has been repaired. So right now what we're doing, we're waiting for a company to put down pavement to replace the asphalt that was taken up because of this. For whatever reason, when they built the septic system, they stuck it underneath the sidewalk. So I had to rip up the asphalt to get access to that end and then realign the septic and put it back together again. So now we're putting down asphalt over the top. So the company that put down the asphalt is coming in, but hopefully before graduation.
And what was the cause of the initial fail?
So because there's evidence that someone had put a bucket on the septic system. The end, you know, there's the pipes come down the system, and then there's another pipe on the end that connects all the pipes together. That was shifted over.
What do you mean by a bucket?
I'm sorry, an excavator.
A contractor?
Yeah.
Was-
Yes, so there was a mark on the pipe that was the size of an excavator bucket where they had to put the bucket down like this.
Yeah, so who's
And
paying
it's-
for this?
Yeah, who did that? Who was the contractor?
this was like 20 years ago. We can try to go find it, but we don't know if it was the contractor who put in the pavement.
20 years ago.
Yeah,
The contractor.
Yeah, I
who put
thought
in
it was
the-
like, yeah, yesterday.
Camera.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
But it took 20 years to fail.
yes,
Okay.
okay. And it wasn't, I don't want to make it sound like it was a big expense for repair. It wasn't like huge. Okay, it was like $5,000 just to rip that part up, and then now I got to pay for the paving part of it. Okay, I'm just
I
letting.
guarantee we should have enough the other ones.
All right, are you all set with the septic? Okay. The library roof leak, we tore open the wall on the second floor and there's no water damage. So, we're thinking that it's coming down a beam from the greenhouse.
I've been surprised, maybe we talked about that.
Yes. So I've asked them to install, plexiglass, because we still have a portion of a pallet of plexiglass from the beginning of COVID, and just caulk it to the top of the greenhouse and make sure there's no water going into the greenhouse. And then if we can try to seal it up somehow, and then all of a sudden the water disappears, we know it's the greenhouse, and we can address the greenhouse in the future.
Well, yeah, it seems to me that one of the things that's gotta be on the table with the greenhouse is what purpose is it serving anymore?
Mhm.
When you just take the greenhouse off the building and then seal it, so you don't have these water.
So that's where we're at. The next one is, I tried to chase down the rule change for the PFOA limits to 4 nanograms per liter. And, I've given you a link. Right now, the EPA is accepting comments, and their comment period is going to close on May 30th.
2023.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
Just to clarify.
So, and just again, our latest result was 4.1 and 4.12 nanograms per liter. And, we're looking for some assistance from the state if we have to do it. So this is a future problem that's coming down the road. I want to walk to it. The next thing is the old middle school. SLC is looking to install HVAC units. We told them that we're not going to participate in the installation costs, but we're not going to stand in their way.
Just to clarify so that I understand. When we talk about old middle school, there's the whole building. There's the SLC portion in the front, and then there's the uninhabited portion in the back.
Mhm.
So when you're referring to the whole building, when you talk about the old middle school,
I'm talking about the SLC portion.
just the SLC portion. Okay.
Okay. Also the roof over the kitchen will need to be replaced soon. So what you'll see is the roof, the shingles are starting to cup. That doesn't mean that I'm going to be asking to replace it right away. I'm waiting for it to show more age. Okay. The boilers will need to be replaced soon. Right now we're having the problem that's starting to show on the boiler, other than that its age, it's the same age as the Bakey boilers, or roughly the same age, is one of the boilers is not priming. So when it's trying to draw the heating oil from the tank, it's losing that prime, and then it's tripping. The other boiler will have to pick up, but every once in a while we have to bring in a technician to reprime the pump and get the boiler running. And they can't figure out which part is failing. So eventually that part's going to fail. I'm going to have to replace some pump or something in the near future. And we're going to try to keep these boilers going for another year or two. Okay. And again, another thing over there is the parking lot pavement needs to be replaced. We just did a tour of the building over there for another group of people. And we realized that, well, we knew that the parking lot, the pavement there was really at its end of life. But on the way out, when we're trying to drive out, it was at the same time that Memorial was letting out. So all the parents were parked going around the corner while the SLC buses were trying to come into the parking lot, and it was creating a bottleneck at the entrance. It's probably okay for just SLC, but if you have another tenant that's coming in there, or potential to have another tenant, we may have to expand that entrance to like 3 car lengths wide, or three lanes. you know, one lane going right to the memorial, one lane turning left to go out to the main entrance, and then another lane coming into the building. Okay. Again, I would just want to, the last piece is, I just want to bring up the discussion about the piece of equipment for the snow removal. We haven't moved forward since we last spoke, so I don't want to bring up more on that yet. We're not ready.
Meaning you need to do more evaluation with the team to figure that out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they've given us a list of the items they want. I want them to define that list a little more closely.
Yep.
Because basically, if you look at our equipment list, we have 4 mowers, but we have 3 operators. Okay, so I want to start, I'm trying to tell them, start purging your equipment and try to get something that's multi-purpose. Okay.
One question from our tour the other day at Memorial.
Yep.
There was one of the staff members in the kitchen that noted a piece of what appeared to be important cooking apparatus. I'll leave it at that.
Yes.
So I didn't see that in here and it stuck in my mind.
Yes.
So
That's great. I'm glad you brought it up because we've also been having conversations with that person's manager.
Yep.
And their feeling is the garbage disposal not to replace because they don't use it.
sure.
Okay.
Yep.
The double oven stove, they only need 1. Okay.
Mhm.
They would be happy with 2, but they only need 1.
Yep.
And then the steamer,
That's what it was.
okay,
Yep.
they'd rather have a double oven stove than the steamer. Okay, so the manager who oversees the program has a different opinion on the equipment than their frontline staff.
Okay. As long as the staff has what they need to cook the appropriate meals for the kids, that's my
Yes.
number one, important thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
We're trying to get that stove, the existing stove,
Yep.
repaired.
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna let the garbage disposal play.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I also want to let the steamer play.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. As long as the supervisor is on that.
Yes.
Again. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. CIP discussion. You mind if I jump into that?
Smash.
We're looking forward to it.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
This is the same CIP plan from before. I copied it in. I tweaked some, made some adjustments to it, okay? I made sure on this page right here that's up on the screen that everything is evaluation as opposed to need, okay? Because again, the CIP plan is just a plan. It's not a funding plan.
Well, I just got a structural question.
Yeah.
Why are we doing spreadsheets on a document? Why wouldn't this be in Excel, so when you get the estimated costs and you can sum up things? So right now you have to run a calculator on all the columns that are in the Word document.
I did it in Google Sheets.
Okay, so you got that in sheets? Because it looks like a spreadsheet.
I mean, I could put it in the spreadsheet. I don't know if I can embed a spreadsheet in Google Sheets. I see your
You can
point.
embed a link to the spreadsheet to go with this plan, yeah.
Okay,
I think, that, Jamie's got a good point. I like the format just because, you have plenty of information in one spot, but if we throw in the numbers.
Yeah, because once you start populating your numbers and start getting your estimates,
Yeah.
you know, see what you're not gonna have to run, you're not gonna have to manually calculate it.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. What are we tallying?
So maybe link it.
okay, all right. So, let's see. Beaky isn't really much different than the prior ones, except I added the water system upgrades. So when we had the gentleman out talking to the school board about the filters, I believe he also said that we need to address the other portions of the system that haven't been updated. Okay, I'm just putting it in here. This is I put it as a priority as a B, which would be, let's see, B is within 2 years. I would think it would have to be something that would happen after the bond is paid off. But then again, if something failed, that would get replaced and the likelihood of upgrading the system goes away.
So on the baking one, the 1.8 million, you say there's building is little to no exchange. We just spent about $10,000 to upgrade the electrical to accept 5 air conditioners in baking.
Yes.
So you have air conditioners in baking that are acting as an air exchange that do exist now, so we should
Well,
acknowledge that.
Are they connected to the outside? Oh, yeah.
Or, well, they're window units.
Yeah, but they're not used in the winter time, so, I mean, you can put them in there, but you still.
But you
have-
don't open the windows in the winter time either.
No. Which has no air exchange.
But my understanding is all the discussion is all about it's too hot in the building. And we call it air exchange, but we're really talking about the AC unit for baking.
I don't really see it that way. What it is, the only way that you can turn over air in a building or at Bakey is just to open up the windows. And from what I've seen for some of the studies is that as the day progresses, the room fills up with CO2 and the quality of learning goes down. Okay, so it's just to change over the air. Would it be great to have AC? Absolutely. Okay, but it's going to be a discussion, a future discussion. Okay, I think it would be something that is a hybrid system like that we have here, which would incorporate the baking boilers for heating and to pump that heat throughout the building using the baking boilers.
So, but if they're gonna have a $1.8 million cost, then I would suggest that you need to do a study. If you're basing it on the CO2 content being unacceptable for learning, then you should know what the CO2 content is. Do you know what the CO2 content is?
What we have is a study done by a company back at the beginning of COVID who tested the entire school district, and they were looking more towards the air quality in relation to COVID at that time. Okay, and $1.8 million is the system that they had recommended at that time.
Right. So one of the things that we had in our golden objectives when this was adopted is we had to look at the ROIs on this and what the drivers. So if the driver of 1.8 million is because we believe that the CO2 levels are too high and we believe that that is impairing the children's ability to learn, it's got to be more than belief. You need data.
Yeah, right. But I think this, again, this is a plan. This isn't, it would, to take it off of the list and to actually do it, we would have to do the ROI and it would have to make sense at that time. Right now, I can't say that it makes sense because we also have the bond. We also have some questions about Fremont. So this is more of a placeholder. If you want to, I can always reduce the cost to TBD. And then also, I think up in the language, we put in here that anything that gets approved must have an ROI associated with
Yeah,
that.
that's what I recall.
Yeah, I maybe just put the date that you got that 1,800 estimate. I don't want to put TBD because it's, I think we should have some visibility to what it would really cost, or at least from the last estimate.
And I think as long as we all understand that, to include you, that this document, how this document is being used, this is not a plan that we are enacting. We're saying in 2 years, we're going to purchase that $1.8 million. We're not doing that, right?
Right.
So once we get there, we would need to gain more fidelity, such as what are the CO2 levels, right?
Yeah.
For us to go ahead and spend that sort of money. Right.
Yeah, then I assume you have, these are B's and C's. If you have an A, I assume before something gets an A or as it gets an A, that there's actual hard numbers, estimates, quotes from a number of vendors or what have you, so that we're working with something solid before we start the real.
Yeah.
That's immediately.
So the key, there's 2 key points that I want to get across. The first one is the towns charge impact fees, and as part of the law for impact fees, the towns have to have a CIP plan. Okay, some of the towns don't have a CIP. One of the 2 towns doesn't have a CIP plan. I'm trying to make sure that we have a CIP plan so that at least we're meeting that standard in the law. Okay.
Yeah, that's great, man.
So the second thing is what I'm hoping or what I expect the school board to do is if I bring some sort of item Like all of a sudden, say, a boiler fails here at the high school. How come it wasn't on the CIP plan? You know, what's wrong with the process of evaluating the equipment? There should be questions like that, okay? So this is more like a guide than it is like, you know, this is a plan that we're doing in 2 years.
Sure.
All right. Memorial. Here's the building expansion right here. And what it is we use temporary classroom space. And this has been on the CIP plan for a couple of years. So I just want to make sure that that part of it's out there. And I think as part of any building expansion, we should also look at air exchange, replacing some windows, fire suppression upgrades, and maybe possibly some roof replacements. Okay, so instead of trying to do the projects in piecemeal, we should just do it as one big overall project. If the school board agrees.
Yeah, it would depend on what the definition of the need is, and what the costs are, and what the alternatives are.
Yes, exactly. Okay. I did make the roof replacement an A right here because I have that quote for $300,000 for a roof. I don't have enough data to give you a good example, or I mean a good solution, but I wanted to make sure that it's front and center, that I've got to do something. Okay. Moving on to the high school, the athletic field access and the parking lot concerns. These are paving projects that we raised. Well, the athletic field access has been there for a couple of years. The tennis courts parking lot is new last year. And so those are just a repeat. Continual security upgrades. What I did on here is I made this an A, just to kind of say to everybody that although we're doing the security upgrades through a grant right now, we need to continually be evaluating our security, making the school board aware of that evaluation, and then recommendations of what we should do going forward. That should always happen all the time.
I would just say on safety related items, and again, for public discussions on safety related items, we should not be being specific so that it enables people to defeat those safety related items.
Agreed. And
There are certain items that you do want made public, such as we have an armed officer in the
Correct.
school, right? And then other things that you don't, right? Yeah, so it's a balance. Yeah.
Okay. I have siding down here, which was a repeat from last year. There are some portions of the siding I think we need to address, especially over here in front of the over the administrative offices. I could show those to you if you want to see it. That'd be great.
That's the stuff we looked at when I was up on the road last time.
Yes.
Yeah, I think what you had planned on that, if I recall correctly, is you were gonna schedule segments over time.
A section
to
over
replace,
time.
yeah, to replace these. So
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I think you should just make sure that, like, the public is aware, the siding that's on there is part of a class action lawsuit. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's
Well,
what I was told. That we weren't able to sign on to.
I think, well, okay, the company's gone.
Understood.
Yeah, and there's no course of action for us.
I understand that.
Yes.
But the siding failed miserably.
Yes, it has.
Okay, and I thought I was told it was a class action lawsuit.
There could have been one. I just don't remember.
So
right
that's
off the
what I
top.
was told, so
Yeah.
I'll
It's probably
recant
correct.
that, because
Yeah.
if that's not accurate, then I apologize.
Oh, no,
But the siding that's on the building failed.
yes,
The company that made it is out of business?
yes,
they had a business within the warranty that they gave.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't,
Which is important for the public to know, right?
100%, yeah.
This is not just
Yeah,
a,
it's not,
yeah.
it's not like we just want to replace siding.
Right.
It doesn't look good.
yeah, right.
Okay.
I don't have all the facts on the siding, so you might have more facts than me, and that's great. Okay. The heating and cooling improvements, this is something that I have as a D. It's long-term, okay? Heating cooling systems, I personally believe they have about a 40-year lifespan. I know Dan disagrees with that, but I put in 40 years right here. I feel that it would be important for the business administrator to evaluate the heating and cooling systems. Something might come along that would meet the ROI and justify a replacement.
Okay, you might have something along the lines of, what you found for the sewage system. I don't think it's the same thing, but there might be new technologies that come in and extend life. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
What does Dan think, by the way? You said 40. What does Dan think? Like 5 or 80 or?
He thinks some of the rooftop units are nearing the end of their life right now.
Okay.
My experience with some of the rooftop units have been up to 40 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're into that period of time where we're happy with what we've got and we're amazed that they're continuing on.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So I just want to make sure everyone's aware that we expect those systems to last a lot longer.
Okay.
Like when we replace the section on the boiler, they're unlike baking.
Right.
We can keep repairing these boilers until we can't get parts, and at that time it's going to get replaced.
This would be the kind of thing in my mind that I would take and say, okay, we have some belief that it's 20, we have some belief that it's 40. I suppose we get an engineer and get a third set of beliefs. But at some point in time, they'll fail. So should this be a discussion next year to say, this is an item we should put a warrant article on, to create a reserve for the high school HVAC system or what have you, to build those reserves.
Yeah.
So that because ultimately everything's gonna fail. If you can identify the specifics that are true structural operationals, we should probably talk about, does it make sense to warrant those?
This building's 18?
18.
Okay.
Is there a financial threshold that you want to start looking at warrant articles for? I mean, we don't want to do that for, we need to replace rot on the door. So like, what's the financial threshold that we look at that's?
We can't really fit it within the budget.
Right.
Okay.
So it's really a.
Well, we should, that's a
Moving
good
target.
point. We should probably, as we go through this, if this is, are they under or over, warrant article kind of consideration?
Perfect. Yes, agree.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure everyone's aware. I did stick a little portion at the bottom here because
Yeah, I noticed that.
at the time that we create or we evaluate these systems, we should look at geothermal. We have a problem with the playing field out here where it's not draining. And I was told we should, the fix is to add like 3 to 4 feet of soil on top of the field. Okay. So in your cost considerations for the ROI, repairing the field, putting in a geothermal system in as part of the repair, and then use that repair to help keep the building. Okay. It's just a consideration. This is not a direction. Now, and I'm taking this idea from Oyster River. They just built a new middle school and they're heating the building with a geothermal system with a loop coil in the ground.
Yeah, they can be very effective systems.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see what their experience is over the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, exactly.
When was their install?
Their install was when the construction was the cheapest. They paid, I think, a couple dollars more per square foot to build that building, and it's almost completely off the grid.
Yeah.
They generate all their heat from the ground, and they generate all their electricity through solar.
What year on that?
I think it's only 3-4 years ago.
Okay, so they would have some data already.
Yeah.
Once you crack the 5-year threshold.
Sure.
But I mean, now there's some reliability on timing, et cetera. It's not just a brand new system, it's an operational system that's proved itself.
Yeah. I don't expect the system to be replaced in 3 or more years. Okay. I'm just being clear with that.
Right, and by then, like I said, they should have sufficient data to help us with an ROI calculation.
Right. I have roof replacement on here like I do with every building. If you go and see the roof, it's in excellent condition. It's amazing how good it is. Okay. Someday it's going to fail. And put that as a D. We don't know when that's going to happen. I also have chimney repair upgrade in here.
Sorry, Matt. Roof replacement. Typically when they install commercial roofs like this, they give you, this is the lifespan of this roof.
Mhm.
What was the lifespan when they?
I think the lifespan's like 20 years.
Okay.
It's going to go way past that.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can also do sections.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
Right.
thank you.
yeah. I've also heard that you can, do upgrades to it and make it last like another 10 more years.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
It's a membrane roof.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And so this year, Jeremiah, you might already be, there was talk on the Kingston side of the house. Hey, did a good idea to put solar panels on your roof at the high school.
No.
And my concern was you'd have hundreds
Hold
of
on,
holes.
hear him out, hold on.
I was gonna say,
I don't need to
Let
hear
him
about it.
get
I
the rest of the
understand.
thought out, all
I
right?
understand what's going on here.
Let him go.
I don't need the rest of the thought then.
Okay. I put it in here in the past.
Yeah.
Okay, and so it's in the past CIP plans.
Sure.
I've heard the conversation. I've been through the solar committee on the
Yeah.
Kingston side.
Hmm.
I removed it.
Sure.
Okay, so.
Great idea in theory.
Yeah.
Jamie, thanks for sharing.
I was looking for sky hooks.
Yeah.
You put them up in the clouds and you just let it hang over the building.
All right, this chimney.
No. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought we were still talking about the roof.
Like, it's gonna be like seconding, right? That's faster. We get through this quick.
Go ahead, Matt.
All right, Matt.
The chimney repair upgrade, I really think that should be done when you're evaluating the HVAC system. Because really what's gonna happen is, and actually when we did the tour with Fremont, I had the chair of Fremont on our tour, and he was talking about how they have heat recovery systems on these boilers, and they're not using chimneys like that anymore.
Mm,
So that is one of the things that is
Right.
making me balk,
That's right.
okay, at putting a cap on this.
Mhm.
By the way, he was excellent on that tour. I learned a lot.
Yeah, agreed.
Water treatment system upgrades. I spoke about this in my business administrator comments. I put this as A or B. This is something that's on the horizon. I don't know when it's gonna happen. And I don't know what to extend, okay? Because what's gonna happen next is it's gonna be like, these are the options that if they pass the regulations to reduce it, then it's really gonna be, do we not treat and fight it? Or at what level do we treat the water?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think we have time on that though, Matt.
we do.
Back to that EPA regulation. I mean, they've engaged, I think it was 18 months, 24, 36 months for implementation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not every school has the ability to just exercise that sort of expenditure.
Yes.
And we're at 4.1, right? 4.12?
Yeah.
Yes.
The limit's 4.
We're just
Right.
over that,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, we have
It
time.
may be very little.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Within the range of test data, for God's sake.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes.
I was thinking get another test. And,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then,
We have to do one every year.
Yeah.
Okay, so. All right, facilities and grounds, this is gonna be the same as last year, snow removal equipment, and, I just wanna, tighten up the estimate and what our plans are, because I want them to purge some of their pieces of equipment. We have a 1-ton stake truck. I spoke to the person who drives that 1-ton. I personally looked over it. There's no rust on the body. I think what we need to do is spend some money on the vehicle, like replace the lift gate on the back, because that is rotting out, okay? And try to extend the life of this vehicle as long as possible. It's in excellent shape.
But their leases?
No, we leased them, we do lease purchase here.
Okay.
so we own it now?
We own it.
Okay.
So can you just
So we
update
should,
that?
yeah, because this looks like we're leasing all this.
Oh, no,
machinery.
that column right there is how to fund it,
Okay.
Oh, okay.
okay?
But that's the exact right.
Funding.
So when you're looking at the justifications on these, if you can, those are the options you should be looking at. Can I invest X to extend life for how long?
Yes,
And the other question would be, and if I'm investing, because it's not extendable, what's the remedial value of the equipment?
yes.
Because you'll be able to get something for it.
If you were to look at the truck right now, you'd be like, let's keep this thing.
Yeah.
Okay, it's in that good shape. It's like 78,000 miles. We think it can go easy another 78,000 miles.
Who takes care of it now?
You know, Mitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his truck.
Great. Well, tell them thank you.
Yes.
Keep it up.
Yes.
Seriously, right?
Yeah, he does. He keeps really good care of that truck.
The owner versus renter mentality, right? And that's an
Yeah.
owner mentality. You take care of your stuff.
Yes, that's right.
Nice.
And we also oil the underside too.
Yeah.
So it looks
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
I have Chase Field rehabilitation.
Yeah, what are we rehabbing over there?
Well, this is in the future.
Yeah, I know,
Okay. Really what needs to happen?
Yeah.
That whole field needs to be recreated.
Okay.
There's a running track out in the back
Yeah.
that's overgrown. That needs to be taken out. The fields need to be reoriented. We need to put off-street parking and maybe even consider doing maybe a field house and new fencing around the field.
Okay.
So
Okay.
when you say, just to help my understanding, needs to be reoriented, why is that a need?
Well, it doesn't, you might have more, how about, it's not need, but the reorienting of the fields might be more efficient. Okay, here, let's see if I can bring up, Chase Field.
There's no real orientation right now. There's a baseball in the corner.
Well, there's a baseball and a softball and they play at the same time and they seem to be fine. So I'm not sure what would reorient.
Well,
And they're at
this is
opposing
baseball
corners.
right here, this is softball right here, and then they have the soccer field right here.
Right.
What I've seen other playing fields do is they can probably, they take the fields and they kind of, they feather them out and then get 4 playing fields in.
Where's the softball field?
Softball field is right there.
Yeah, it actually doesn't really show well on that.
Yeah, that looks
Isn't
like a
it-
shot put field.
Yeah, that's not it.
Yeah,
It's not inside.
I
the
don't
track.
remember seeing it, so I apologize. And I know.
The facility is not as good as it could be.
Sure.
Okay, and by the way, that's our best playing field.
Yeah.
By far, that's our best playing field. And we had some of our, high school games there recently,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
because you can't have them down on the field here.
Right. And that was a short sight on engineering, or we tried to save, somebody
I
tried to save
think
money?
I was told someone tried to save some money and then removed the layer there,
Okay.
a drainage layer.
Okay.
But I can't, unfortunately, that's what was
Yeah.
told to me and I can't prove it.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I was thinking was, is this, we don't use this track. We could bring in off-street parking and put it right here. Because one of the complaints I hear is parking along here and parking along right here.
I think there's a house right across, I mean, if I can point, I think there's a house that has open parking. I think you
Yeah.
would let you park.
Right there.
Probably,
Yeah.
I should probably stay out of that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Also, when we redo the fence, we should try to keep the fence on our property.
That's an interesting statement. Theoretically, I think that's a very good idea, yes.
I mean, what's there is quite old. I mean,
Yeah, and it kind of goes like this, quite old, and then one goes like
I
that.
think we have to have a discussion about, what's going on with the other building, right? Chinburg. I don't think we've ever gotten an update about that.
I'm waiting for an update.
Okay.
You know what I know.
yeah, it's been a while.
All right. Then we're on to servers and switches, okay? We have some, this is, IT, we have some that are, up to 8 years old and we're working towards a 5-year replacement. I know Gordon got some approval to replace a couple servers this spring, but we have some other servers. Now, I also want to keep in mind that we're moving a lot of our components to the cloud, like my accounting system is in the cloud, okay? So the servers don't need to be the size of the servers that we historically have had. They can be smaller.
So I would just advise on these servers and switches in IT. You said a year ago, you need to provide an aging plan and how you're gonna fund that. We didn't do that. A year later, we came back and said, oh, we just need to get this stuff. And it passed. I don't know whether you get it passed again. So I think that needs to be made a priority. If you're going to be coming back in, you need a true aging plan with what we plan on replacing over time. And when you provide the board with information that says, well, this subset of things is 1 to 8 years. Well, it doesn't tell me anything. Which ones are 8 years? Which ones are 1 year? Very easy for me to decide to replace an 8-year one. It's very difficult for me to decide to place a 1-year one. But that was asked for 2 years ago, no, a year and a half or something. So I would say that Gordon needs to, if he can't get it done himself, he needs to be coming to you saying, I need a temper, I need something to be able to put this together. So I have this information. The board has asked for it twice now.
The
Don't come a third time without it.
summer is the best time to do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
A fixed asset register.
And when you can inventory stuff, kids aren't in the way, you know what I mean?
Serial numbers.
Yeah.
Life,
Yeah.
you should have every laptop.
Yeah.
Every laptop should have a sticker on it, right, with the laptop number, and then you know exactly when the warranty's up, how old it is.
And man, this process can be overwhelming. I can see it, this process can be overwhelming, but if they just start with the highest value stuff, start with your big switches, you know what I mean? And then work your way down to the small stuff. That way nobody gets overwhelmed and kind of build momentum as they go.
Start with the laptops that we just purchased.
You're right,
Right?
right. The
Start
newest,
there,
yeah.
because that's, right now, that's our largest asset.
Yeah.
So start with making sure they're all serialized and we know, when the
Yep.
warranty expires, if something goes wrong, you know exactly.
And a lot of this is, for lack of a better word, not Gordon level work. So can you, and I don't know if we do this or not, but we should, I think. Can you post something? Do we have students that are willing to come in and act like an internal intern? You got ELOs all over the place. This is one of the things that, people that are thinking about going into IT world. Being able to say on your resume, I've been involved in a fixed asset assignment. I know all about that. There's an opportunity here for both a learning experience and benefit to the district. But it really has to get done.
Okay. I'm gonna try to jam through the rest of this, because I'd like to try to jump on Memorial timeline really quickly, but
You get 6 minutes.
I know. So the phone system we're
Could have been
talking
by
about,
the time.
Mike is having a hard time finding parking, he said.
Oh, yeah.
okay. The phone system, we're trying to replace that this summer. So that's gonna probably come before the school board after school ends.
Which phone system?
The phone system at Bakey, the SAU, and Memorial. All those are antiquated phone systems using the old phone lines, and we're trying to get a lease purchase within the appropriation of the phone lines themselves, because we're going to be going on the internet.
When you say we are not compliant with 9/11 notifications, what does that mean?
So when each classroom is supposed to have a phone in it, so when they dial 911, it says room 146 at the high school, 17 Danville Road. Right now, if a teacher gets on the phone system, it just says 17 Danville Road.
So where does the statement supposed to have come from? I've never heard of each schoolroom needs a phone. Where does that come from?
So with the new E911 rules that came out a couple of years ago, so if we upgrade the phone system, we have to go and convert it to those rules.
And whose rules? Is this a law?
State.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. So like
So the state has mandated phones in every single classroom?
they're mandated that if you put in a new phone system, there has to be, you have to have it so that the room number is on the ID when you call 911.
How long has this been a law?
It's been about 3 years.
Because we updated the phone system when we moved to the middle school up here.
Yes.
See a phone in
So if
there.
you dial 911 on the phone system here, the room number will show up on the state's 911 system.
It's the E911, the E911 regulations established by the FCC are mandatory for all interconnected VoIP, voice over internet service providers, and are designed to protect the safety of VoIP users who expect when they dial 911, emergency responders know exactly where they are and will quickly arrive on scene.
It must.
Yes,
Not every class has to have
yes, exactly.
Okay.
distinction.
And that's just to be fair, that's just an excerpt from the New Hampshire E. No, I'm
It's not memory?
I thought you recited that.
No,
from
I just
memory.
looked it up. No, I'm just,
Guy's a wealth
there
of
may be a
knowledge.
lot more. I'm quick. So we can just answer. it.
All right.
Sorry.
Perfect.
I'm jumping down to
Bring-
classroom microphone systems. This is the same as last year. I know that there's talk about bringing in a microphone system and it improves teaching and learning. Classroom furniture, LED lights, the old middle school parking lot we spoke about before, the old middle school exterior doors, which by the way, SLC has a grant to replace. Okay.
SLC has a grant to replace the doors we just talked about the other day?
Yep.
Okay, good.
So I've got, if you want, so the LED lights, I've got,
Yeah, we,
Ms. Valente set up for the 21st.
June,
Yep, that's our next meeting,
is it the school board meeting?
the facilities meeting.
Yeah,
was thinking.
yeah, I mean, I think that's perfect, but, do we, at this point, I mean, do we have her come before the board too, or no?
We could, she said, well, what do you want me to do? I said, we want you to tell us, based upon your experience in the industry,
Mhm.
what options do schools have?
Mhm.
Well, currently, if you're in a fluorescent situation, which we primarily are, this is kind of where you are. Your option is use your same electronic systems and put in a drop-in replacement lamp. What are the benefits and detriments to that?
Mhm.
Go to a direct wire lamp. What are the benefits and detriments to that? And what do you have to do there? Go to a fixture. What are the benefits and detriments and what do you have to do there? And just lay that out for us from somebody that lives this on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah,
That's
so
what I've
the
requested.
reason why I say the board is just because of the, you know, if we decide to do anything, the expense, we're gonna have to regurgitate it to the board anyway, right?
Yeah, that's fine with me too.
Yeah, it might just make more sense for it to, rather than us try to, I mean, I know you're sort of a lighting expert, but,
Oh, she much better than me.
yeah, so
Much
why
better.
not have her just give a quick presentation to the board on
Yeah,
it?
I can do that.
I mean,
I'll just talk to
unless
Don about
you
it.
disagree, what do you guys think?
I think it would be good for the board to hear it too. So, I'm not done yet. Hold on. There's another comment on this. I made this comment to you before, but I'll make it here. I do not support getting new furniture for classrooms until and unless we get our performance up. The issue isn't the desks that we're sitting at. The issue is the curriculum and the performance. And I just don't see a need. Every time I see furniture in here, I ask, where's the broken furniture? Well, there is none. Then what do you need? Well, you know, some of it's end of life, some of it's old. Okay, it's old. We got a whole building across the way in Newton full of furniture. When you were looking at all the stuff that we had in the old high school building, in the old basement of Swayze Gym, furniture everywhere. This district has a history of just buying new furniture and throwing it away when something newer and cooler shows up in a catalog. And I think that's what this is, and I would not support that.
No, this is some of the furniture that we have in here are aging, and what I want to try to do, and I do agree that previously the school district did hoard furniture, because it was my staff that had to purge 7 30-yard roll-offs of mold infused furniture, okay? And what we're trying to do right now is we're trying to horse trade with other districts and purge some of the older furniture that we don't use. But the furniture that is here in the high school is great, but the furniture that's in Beakey and Memorial should be rolled over and brought up to date.
What does that mean up to date? It needs a new seat, it needs a new desk,
It
it needs a new cool look that all match is what you're talking about.
No, what a lot of it is with the learning environment. Some of the documents that I brought to the committee before spoke about the quality of the learning environment and how it aids in the education.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at furniture that is the latest and greatest of the design. It's more like what we did at Beakey. We just rolled over some pieces of furniture in there, but no one's noticed those pieces of furniture.
For $50,000, we'll get a much better bang for aiding and learning, for paying for professional development and curriculum to help our students learn. Buying new furniture isn't going to aid in the learning for the learning deficiencies that we have.
Again, this is just a plan. This isn't a roadmap.
This is an aid plan. And it shows up, just so people know, when we had the budgets, you know where the furniture shows up in the budgets? Not under any of the 3 furniture lines. It shows up as replacement equipment, so you don't know it's furniture. And that needs to change too. It needs to, any furniture in the budget should be under the furniture lines, not under replacement equipment.
I do point out where it is. I want to make sure that that's clear, that it's, I don't want to hide anything in the budget.
So put it under the furniture line.
It was a mistake.
2 years, it's been not under the furniture line. It needs to go under the furniture line. Anyways, I have some feelings on this topic.
Yeah.
You may not have noticed.
Yeah.
All right.
Usually when people vent, you just let them keep going and they'll say that.
I have alertus in one one of the buildings doesn't have alertus, and I think it needs to have it. The old middle school needs a boiler, and the old middle school, in the future, the roof needs to be replaced.
When you say alerts, what does that mean?
Alertus is that system that if we say we have, an active shooter event, I really don't want to say it out loud. There's a button that is in the hallway you can press, and the police are gonna come out of the woodwork.
Okay,
Because it literally will buzz on their phone,
okay. I just didn't know what it was.
okay?
And just on the furniture.
That should be an A.
On the furniture, yeah, real quick. I'll give you an example of what I would think would be like a reason to replace furniture. When we were at the school board meeting last 2 weeks ago, 2 chairs in the library broke, correct?
Yeah.
I would expect that those chairs get replaced with a light chair. Yeah, and if we don't have it at the middle school, then you would have to buy it. But I would expect that we would look at the middle school first, right, to Jamie's point, to see if what we have there, if it's light, and if it matches, then we know how to buy it. But, yeah, like that's, I don't disagree with Jamie, like that, you
I
know.
know, I agree.
The money we have enough. There's plenty of development we can give directly to teachers to help them in the instructions, within curriculum, et cetera. There's far more efficacious use of a dollar bill for learning than buying the.
I didn't mean to get it
Okay.
all fired.
So
Yeah.
just for the library furniture, it's not a good example,
Yeah.
because we took the library furniture from Oyster River when they built that new school.
Okay,
And it's identical to what we have in there. So we've been rotating in Oyster River furniture,
okay, good.
okay?
For that alert system, we should have a TVP, we should get quotes on that now. In my mind.
Anything that has to do with safety.
And it's an A.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
can I get the facility use change forms approved? The class of 2022, what they asked for, what you guys asked for was what's on the plaque and how big is it? Here it is.
Where is that going?
That's gonna go with the tree.
I wonder if Mike is on the hall.
He is.
Yeah.
He is up there.
Looks like it's like 8x5. maybe.
Yeah, let's go to the second picture, Matt. Oh, the other one gave the height.
We're talking about,
Oh, hey Micah, I'm really sorry, but you can't have a horn in the room.
what do you want?
There's 4 board members now.
Oh,
Okay, I'm sorry, Micah.
All right, Mike.
Good point of order. So what's we're back to our, I don't know what the history's been, so I'm kind of gonna
So,
defer to you
I
guys.
think we already have trees planted with plaques.
Yeah, but are you guys okay with the plaque?
Well, that's what I'm asking these two.
So I
what's
know
been
that,
our-
I don't know about plaques, but we have all through the lobby gifts, the high school lobby, gifts from different classes.
Yeah.
There's, Indian head bust, there's a small Indian statue, there's a plaque. I don't know about out on
This is a
trees,
tree.
but
Yeah, so the
I'm
cherry
not sure
blossom
about
tree,
that.
but with the plaque is meant to go underneath the tree.
I believe so, yes.
Right. So this comes back to the discussion that we've had, right? So where does this lie? Because this one is slightly different,
Yeah,
you know?
to me, class gifts, they're all, I don't know where they all are, but I know when I walk in the lobby, I see, I don't know, 6 of them right there.
Yep.
So we clearly wanted class gifts and we've accepted class gifts.
Sure.
So I don't have a particular problem with class gifts.
Okay.
As long as they're approved, but I can perceive class gifts that aren't
Right.
acceptable.
And I think this
This
is
is a tree.
appropriate. Yeah, and the plaque is I like it.
Yeah, I don't have an issue.
So can I get a motion approved?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Great. The other one is the Bee Garden kiosk.
Mhm.
And what they want to do is they want to put a kiosk, and I got an example of one.
Yeah.
Right here, okay? And the students are gonna write it. And this website is full of kiosks that are designed for a specific region. And they want to do one specific for the bee hives out back.
Yeah, this is it's grant funded.
Right.
And it's gonna be what, a kiosk, like an electronic kiosk out in the woods?
No, it's just gonna be
No.
just, this is like a metal sign.
Okay,
So
okay.
this would
Yeah,
go-
with like
this would go well with the bridge.
Yeah.
It's got like a roof over it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's kind of a nice, I think it's,
Yeah, it'll help, I think it'll go
Yeah.
We'll
well.
go with that
Ryan-
that kid's,
Ryan Allen.
yeah,
Eagle
Eagle
Scout.
Scout.
Yes. I have literally gone through the whole language in
Yeah.
these examples. I think it's appropriate.
Yeah, yep. Oh, okay, see, yeah, seems great.
All right, so
Motion to approve,
Second,
on favor?
Aye.
okay, I just want to do the memorial.
Well, I mean, we're 10 minutes in the finance.
Okay,
Why don't we just come back to this?
I know.
next meeting?
okay, perfect.
Yeah.
All right,
All right,
thank you.
But for the record, very quickly, any discussion about any expansion to any building at this time is premature.
Yes,
I think we can certainly revisit it once we know what the outcome of the Fremont decision is.
okay, perfect.
yeah, I agree with that.
yep, agreed.
Okay.
Not that,
Thank you,
not that
Matt.
Fremont doesn't need attention, but.
And the last item is the facility tour discussion. Tomorrow I'm doing my last tour, which is SLC in the back half of the old middle school,
And that's at 5 tomorrow, right?
5 o'clock,
Nothing has changed.
front door of the SLC. Okay.
Thursday.
Do we need a motion?
No, you just.
Nope.
need to-
Okay, meeting adjourned.
All right.